Hi, I'm Rob, and in this video I'll be giving you my opinion on what I think is good and bad in the Soulforge. As well as that, I'll be taking a look at our new glory troop we get this week. And later on in the day I'll be uploading a second video showing you my team I'm going to use for this Draconic Divination World event. You really should be doing these. You get lots of really good rewards as you do them with your guild at the same time. So if you're doing this event, be sure to check back later on to see my team for that. Alright, first things first, as I like to do every Monday morning, is pop to the shop and take a look at the new weekly event troop. This one is Sabellius. Alright, let's take a look. Dragon's Claw Epic. Eliminate all armor from the first enemy, then deal damage to all enemies. That's actually pretty good. For a epic, that is not bad at all. Eliminate all armor from the first enemy, so cast this first, and for an epic that is a lot of damage, especially if it's a high level opponent. Then deal damage to all enemies based on your magic level. So yeah, that's actually pretty decent. For a epic, very good indeed. Stealthy as well, cannot be targeted by spells, gain 2 life on 4 or 5 gem matches, and 2 bonus gold. So yeah, the first one's not so great, but the actual spell is not bad, and I'm basing this on being an epic, and for an epic level troop that is a 7 out of 10 for me, so very good indeed. Well done, Sabellius, you are actually decent. Right, now let's what we do, I like to get this all the way up to level 20 straight away if you can, so you need this on mythic level, so we buy as many of these as we require absolutely immediately. Always worth doing if you have the required glory. Gives you another troop to take to level 20, which helps still your power levels on your kingdoms in the long run, and you get extra stuff at the same time, so always do that. Right, on to the weapons first, and I'm not going to do all these ones that are here all the time. These are reviewed in previous Soulforge videos, so we'll ignore those ones, but we'll take a look at the new ones which are here this week. The first one up is Talk of the Dragon. Removes all red gems. Now, this is without benefit to you. They're just removed with 0 effect, but kind of handy if you're fighting a team that needs red, because you're taking away the colour which they require the most. Then deals damage to an enemy based on your magic level, boosted by the amount of gems removed. And if the enemy is from Dragon's Claw, or the battle is in Dragon's Claw, deal double damage. So, obviously you need to be in Dragon's Claw or fighting a Dragon's Claw team to get the most out of that, but it's still quite a collectible weapon, and it's certainly not essential and going to change your game in any sort of major way. So that is in the collectible list for me. All these ones are here in other videos, and they're here literally every single week. Next one up is Dragon Tails, 300 diamond cost for this. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by Dragon's Claw allies. Then creates a mix of 6 red and purple for each Dragon's Claw ally. So again, these weapons, we need a full team of Dragon's Claw allies to make the most out of this. And as well as that, because this weapon uses yellow and green but creates purple and red, you're going to need those Dragon's Claw allies to use some purple or red. Otherwise there's literally no point to this weapon at all, apart from to do a small amount of damage. But if your team fulfills those requirements, then it can be really good indeed. Doomed Focus, 900 diamonds cost, which is quite heavy, but it is a doomed weapon, but not all doomed weapons are made equal. And this one's kind of unusual to me. I haven't actually tried to figure out the point of it yet, but there must be one somewhere, because it's designed in a particularly unusual kind of way. It uses yellow, and then part of the spell is to give armor to all yellow allies. So obviously you'd want a full team of yellow allies to make the most out of this. And if the enemy has a doom, eliminate all armor from a random enemy. That part of the spell was a little bit annoying because it could hit somebody who's already lost most of that armor, and that part of the spell could be largely useless. But it's the first part that I find interesting on this. Create 4 red gems plus 1 gem per tempering level. So that initially, without any tempering levels, this is going to be a very low amount of red gems, and you could get nothing, no matches from that at all. But it's unusual in a way that it gives armor to all yellow allies, but creates 4 red gems. So There's some thinking behind this yet, which I haven't actually bothered to try and work out yet, but I will eventually, because it's basically expecting us to have an all yellow team to make the most of that giving armor effect to yellow allies, but creates 4 red gems. So the idea behind this is somewhere that basically at least one of our allies which uses yellow and red should benefit from this in a big way. But it's just weird. Like I say, I haven't actually figured out what the point of that weapon is, but it must be there somewhere. There must be some thinking behind that somewhere. Right, next up, Mace of Claws, 300 diamond cost. Similar to the other weapon, it deals damage to an enemy boosted by dragon allies. Then create a mix of 6 red and purple for each dragon ally. So this uses green and brown, but creates red and purple. So the same thing with the other weapon. Basically, the other allies in our team need to be dragons, and at least a couple of them use red or purple to actually make the most of this weapon. Otherwise, there's no point to using it. Volcanic Shield. Another intriguing weapon. There's a lot of weapons that seem to be of a very particular use, but this one's strange in other ways. Uses blue and brown, and what it does, it gives armor to an ally, and if the ally uses red mana, give double armor. And if the enemy has a boss, explode all red gems. So there's not that many bosses in the game, and if there is one, then it will explode all red gems. But the point of this spell is to give armor to an ally, and only if they use red mana. So again, a very incidental, sort of very particular weapon that has to fulfill certain requirements to get the most out of it. But the interesting thing about this is there's not many bosses in the game, and the main one, as we all know, is Zul'Goth, who just kills someone outright. That's his spell, he just kills someone. So doesn't matter how much armor you give someone, if Zul'Goth decides to target that person you just gave a ton of armor to, it's making this spell nearly useless. So a very collectible weapon for me, and totally and utterly non-essential. Mystery Egg. There's no mystery in it. It's an egg, and it's got hieroglyphics on it. What's the mystery? Anyway, create 8 red and 8 yellow gems, then summon either a dragon egg or a fell dragon egg. Ah, that's the mystery. What do you get? Do you get a dragon egg or a fell dragon egg? Not really much of a mystery, because you literally get one of 2 things. The mystery is whether those 8 red and 8 yellow gems actually do you any good whatsoever, because obviously you're going to need red and yellow allies to make the most out of that. So this can self-charge, because it does use yellow itself. But other than that, it may work in some teams, but it's hardly the be-all and end-all of weapons. And Mystery Egg, yellow and red. I'm just thinking of the idea of, like throwing at someone. Obviously, you throw it at someone, it splatters them, releases a load of red and yellow everywhere. Not sure about red. That means sounds like it's a Duffo egg to me, one of those ones that you look at it and then you chuck it in the bin again and think, I'll just get another one. But and then another egg or another egg is in it. So yeah. Anyway, that's me being weird. Don't worry about that. Explosion. Har har. They made a funny. 300 diamond costs again. Explode 4 gems of a chosen colour and heal a certain amount of life. That is not a huge amount of gems to explode in any way, shape or form, especially for 15 mana cost. That's really bad. And heal some life for 15 mana cost. There are weapons, there are enemies, there are troops which explode more gems than that and deal damage more than that to all enemies. So with less mana cost than that. So it's like... I don't know, I think that's a really badly misbalanced weapon to me. Don't really understand the point of it. But yeah, it may have a use somewhere, but right. So overall, a bunch of pretty naff weapons this week, it has to be said. So yeah, mostly, if not all, but collectible. Right, now on to the troops, and the same way as weapons, I'm not going to go over the ones that are here every single week. Just look at the new ones. First up is Ironhawk. Interesting spell, creates 12 Doom Skulls, so irrelevant of your magic level, you could just start the game today and you're still going to create 12 Doom Skulls and then explode a certain amount of gems. Thing with this spell is, it can be very, very hit and miss on how much damage it does. Sometimes you'll be amazed how much damage it does, and another time you'll be surprised how little it does. It's just literally a pot of luck sometimes the way that spell goes. The traits are moderately okay. Recover 1 armor at the start of each turn. Impervious is pretty good. Immune to all status effects, Devour, Lycanthropy and Mana Burn. But artillery support is the jewel in the crown. It deals 5 damage to all enemies when an ally casts a spell. That's not so much in a normal battle, but people like this because it makes a very fast Nomapalooza team and Explore level 1 team when used with certain other troops. Next up is Amarok. Deals damage to an enemy based on your magic level, and then there's a 2% chance to devour them, boosted by red gems and burning enemies. If the enemy dies, create 9 red gems. So very, very luck based spell, even with that boost. But there is a way of getting it boosted, but I'm just not a fan of these kind of spells, the kind of troops that have a percentage chance to do things. You're relying on that little bit of luck to come in to make that work, and if it fails, then you could be in a lot of trouble. So I'm not a fan of this kind of thing, even though the traits are actually not too bad. Immune to burning and fairy fire, reduce damage from skulls by 50%, and burn and stun a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. But very, very hit and miss and luck based on the spell to a certain degree. Arachnian Weaver. What a troop this is. Now we're talking. Web all enemies. Webbed enemies magic is reduced to 0. And to put that into context, like my magic is 40 on my Arachnian Weaver, and it deals 45 damage. This means if an Arachnian Weaver could be webbed, for example, that would then deal just 5 true damage to the last 2 enemies. It's a massive difference and can literally just triple a team when they're all webbed. But it is on the last the 2 enemies that true damage gets applied, but that's important to remember, so you can't attack anyone, it will always be the last 2 enemies. And if an enemy dies, explode 15 gems, which is a lot of mana generation. Really, really good. So reducing the enemy's magic to 0, dealing damage to the last 2 enemies. If they die, you get a load of mana gen. Great spell. And it gets better with the traits. Stealthy, cannot be targeted by spells. Impervious, immune to all status effects, Devour, Lycanthropy and Mana Burn. And Creeping Doom, absolutely superb. 75% chance to summon a web spinner when an enemy dies. So that is really, really cool. I love Arachnian Weaver, one of my absolute top mythics. Absolutely love it. And the last one up is Pharos Ra. Now, if you're a newer player or you've started the game very recently, then if you have the diamonds, this is definitely one to craft. This is going to do you good literally forever in the game until you get to be an end game player. Like, I'm classed as an end game player now, and I don't use this troop anymore. I actually acquired it far too late to actually benefit from it in any way, really. But if you've got a chance to get this and you're a newer player, it will do you good literally forever and make a huge difference to your progress in the game. You need souls to level your troops, and this gains 150% bonus souls from battle when you get that 3rd trait. And it gives souls when you cast it as well. So fantastic troop for an early game player. Not so great if you're an end game player, but yeah, there he is. Pharos Ra. Alright, that is the mythics. Let's go over the legendaries quickly. And first up is Celestasia. Creates 9 gems of a chosen ally's mana colour, cleanse, and give some life to them. So, yeah, this was a early troop. Nothing fantastic about it. I certainly don't recommend crafting legendaries unless they're of extreme importance to you, like a Yao Guai or something like that. But this is not in that category. It's pretty good, but yeah, certainly not essential. Sylvanamora. Now, this is actually quite cool. Explodes a column and then deals damage to all enemies. So you're going to generate mana from this at the same time, as well as doing damage to all. Damage to all is, I think, underrated in the game. Damage to all is a really good way to hit stealthy opponents. Quite often those Arachnian Weavers and Life and Deaths and Thief classes, things like that, they're going to be stealthy a lot of the time, and that is a way to actually make sure you do damage to those sneaky hidden opponents. As well as that, the traits are Okay, the third one is the best. Entangle the first enemy on 4 or 5 gem matches. That can be really useful in certain skull-based teams and how to counter them. So, Savannah, decent. Glitter Claw. I remember using this a lot in the early days of playing this game. Really quite liked it. Deals damage to a random enemy, then transforms all blue to green to boost the effect, and fairy-fires all enemies. Fairy-fired enemies take an extra 50% extra damage from damaging spell effects, and that makes a big difference to the damage of your team. Yeah, Glitter Claw, used to use that a lot. As well as that, gain enchant when matching red gems. It means it gets charged straight away again, or gets going at least straight away. Yeah, Glitter Claw. Fond memories of Glitter Claw in my early days as playing this game. Nimue. Transform yellow gems to skulls and red gems to purple and silence the 2 strongest enemies. That's pretty decent. If you've got a team that works on that theory of transforming that colour to skulls and particularly red to purple, then that can be neat, very handy indeed. It's particularly that silence the 2 strongest enemies. Silence is such a cool way of shutting down a team. A silence troop cannot collect mana or cast spells, and that absolutely just hinders people massively. If you can't collect mana, you can't cast a spell, you're like basically wasting turns every single time. It's like pretty nifty. Do like that. Traits are nothing particularly fantastic, but the spell is decent, and that's the 4 legendaries. So that is it. So who gets my Mythic Pick of the Week? Well, hard to judge really, because Pharos Ra is pretty much essential if you're a early game player, because it is going to do you good absolutely forever in the game until you get to the end game part, which is probably a little way away. Can't give it to Amarok. I'm not going to give it to Ironhawk, even though a lot of people will say it's great for those level 1 explore quick teams and Nomapaloozas, but I have a reason for that, and I will show that in a different video this week, why I don't rate Ironhawk as highly as other people. So, Arachnin Weaver. I have to give it to Arachnin Weaver, because even though Pharos Ra is essential if you're a newer player, Arachnin Weaver is just essential, just full stop. If you're a newer player, this is going to be a fantastic troop for you. And if you're an endgame player, it's still got its uses, and it's still going to be great in many teams. So, Arachnin Weaver, you are my Mythic Pick of the Week. Nope, he says, but yes, you actually are. So, there it is. There's my Soulforge review. Check back later on, because I'll be releasing another video today based on the World event and my team I'm going to use for that. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to think about bashing that like and subscribe button, but don't think too long. Just instinctively do it. It's helpful and good for you too. Liked videos mean you can pop back to that later on really in an easy way, and check it out again and see which mythics you should get or stuff like that. And why do I go on to these little rambly bits at the end sometimes? I have literally no idea, and now I'm flicking between the cards on this troop for no particular reason, and that is probably really annoying, so I'm going to stop it. Right, that's the video. Catch you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.